Our very first speaker will be Gabriel Mikhail, who's going to be talking about journeys in nature and eco-architecture. Gabriel Mikhail is a veteran eco-architect, a wildlife photographer and a filmmaker. He designed, planned and constructed several national park facilities, including World Heritage Sites. He is the CEPA expert for Egypt and the Ramsar NGO focal point. Mikhail received his Masters of Architecture from the Ohio State University in 1982, and after working as an architect in Atlanta, Georgia, he returned to Cairo in 1997, founded his nature and culture consultancy firm, Image House, and pursued his lifelong interest in the historical architecture and nature and cultural heritage of Egypt. He's a committed environmentalist and has executed many projects for the Egyptian Ministry of Environment and international sponsors. Mikhail has also filmed and directed a number of films and nature and culture documentaries, and created Egypt's Wilderness, the country's first natural history channel on YouTube. He's authored a number of publications, including maps and brochures serving public awareness. During the talk, we will also, after the talk, we'll take questions and answers, and we'll also see a film that Gabriel will also like to share with us. So please put your hands together for Gabriel Mikhail.
Okay, so what does an architect has to do with photography and nature and wildlife? Well, what I do, it has everything to do with it. I specialize in national park infrastructure, and I'm a nature lover to begin with. So what inspires me, or what the vocabulary I use for my designs, come from nature and culture. It's supposed to be a continuation of culture, a progression, and evolution. So the first thing I do on a project is to survey the natural and cultural heritage of that site specifically. There are several protected areas. Each has its own setting, its own landscapes. So you have to do a lot of research before you design, maybe 75% research, 25% design. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the inspiration. You'll see some of the photography of nature and cultural landscapes, which are the vocabulary for the design. And then you'll see some of the case studies that were built, like this one in the background. And the last things are the derivatives. What are the derivatives? They are you do a lot of research, photography, and so forth before you design. So these materials could be used for making maps, books, films, and so forth. So we'll begin with the first thing, is the natural environment. As you see from this map which I've done, there is 30 protected areas in Egypt, which represents different ecosystems. They were chosen to represent specific landscapes for their beauty, for their biodiversity, for different reasons. So there is 30 of them around Egypt, as you see, and we have a lot of different landscapes, from sand dunes to different formations carved by the wind, to wadis, like here in Jabal Alba. And by the way, on each of these, if there is something relevant, I have a film about it. I just put that note because I have a YouTube channel with my name, Gabriel Mikhail, and there are several films. So this picture is about Elba. There is one of my first films where I was with a small camera like that, before I became more professional. And it was with Dr. Sheikh Ba'addin. He's not here now, but he's one of the people that really inspired me and did a lot of field trips with me. And different, and you see the desert after the rain, it becomes very green. The geology is also important because it becomes the materials that you use. If you don't want to do a lot of impact on transportation and have a lot of footprint, use something from the area if it works. And here is Gulf Kibir at the extreme southwest of Egypt. There is also a film about it, it's an hour and 11 minutes on the channel. And just different landscapes from subpaths to depressions. We have a big depression called the Qattara Depression. There's also a film about it on the YouTube channel. And the White Desert. You see, and there's also a film about it, but you see all these different landscapes require different architecture. The forms, the landforms, the geology, the natural history, the archaeology. Mangroves, we have two types of mangroves here. The red mangroves and the gray mangroves. And there is also a film about it on mangroves of Egypt. And the north coast, the Mediterranean Sea, and it's also a very beautiful setting like the Saloum Protectorate. Very virgin land and very scenic. About it also on the channel. One of the things that you come across is the Bedouins with their medicinal plants. These are, different trees that are used by the Bedouins for medicinal plants. This photo is in Sinai in spring after the rain, and you see the Bedouins there. They use these plants for millennia to treat different ailments. This is Hakim Sina, who was the doctor of medicinal plants in St. Catherine. So there is also a film about medicinal plants called Healing at Mount Sinai. And of course, the islands and the coral reefs, everybody knows that. Now that we look generally about landscape, we'll look at the creatures, mammals, Egyptian gazelles, Dorcas gazelles. These actually are critically endangered. They were abundant, several decades ago, but now they are getting less and less. The ibex. This photo is with a camera trap. I do camera traps where I leave the camera trap in the mountain or by a spring for several months at a time. And of course you cannot get this sort of photograph standing by the animal. I mean, if he sees you 2 kilometers away, he's gone. So I got really intimate photos with the camera video traps. This is the fennec fox, the smallest fox in the world. It's like a cat or smaller. It's got big ears to help with ventilation and hearing. You can hear the insects' footsteps on the sand, This is a wild hare. It's eating the fruit of the Balanitas tree, and amazingly, he wasn't afraid of me. I just got out of the car, and he knew I'm not going to hurt him somehow. And he was going on his business eating. Ospreys. They're a magnificent creature. You see how they're holding it to be aerodynamic to build his nest. And the patterns of these animals and the dependencies. You cannot build somewhere where there's a big impact on the wildlife. No matter how beautiful your building is, this is not the issue. You have to know the area where the animals come, stay away from them, and see that little spring actually supports a lot of wildlife. Something else from architecture I learned from nature. You can be very ornate up close, but from far you disappear into the landscape. Something what we call eco-mimicry. So we try to mimic nature. This is on an island called Golden Horn Island in Lake Sharon. And there is a film about it also. You can see they nest right on the ground. Soaring birds. You know, Egypt's on a flyway from Eurasia to southern Africa, and each year we get hundreds of thousands passing through. There's also a film called Soaring Legends on that. Reptiles. Of course, the reptiles are the masters of the desert. This is a spiny agama. During the mating season, it turns these bright colors to attract females. Sand viper. You have to get like this far to get a good photo with the macro lens. But, and this guy is the most venomous snake in Egypt. And you can see the camouflage. You know, he used, just like the granite, the red spots or the orange spots or the gray spots, just like the granite here. Not just one color, but the pattern also. This was a endangered Egyptian tortoise, and they did a project where they put that thing that tracks it, and for a year, and it drew its own protected areas. We didn't take it and move it somewhere, but the places that it knows and it finds its food and everything else, so it shows its own protected area, North Sinai. Reptiles, crocodiles, and Nick Nasser. And the islands of the Red Sea are very, very fragile because, again, they all nest on the beach. So it's very crucial that no development goes on there. Construction, mass tourism, and all that. You can see another island, Sialco. This is the beach cleaner and hermit crabs. They eat any organic materials left on the beach. Here is another camera. Do you see the fish here? Huh? Where's the fish? It's right there. It's right there. You see? These are seagrasses, which dugongs depend on seagrasses. Also sea turtles. These are green turtles which eat seagrasses. The Bargad Island, where it's nesting. And there's another film about winters of the sea. You'll find on the channel where the researchers put a tracking device on it and it drew where it went. And it's a big world traveler from Saudi Arabia, and all over the place. Of course, the coral reefs. This is a Hawksbill Turtle, where it eats soft corals. So you find it in the coral reef area. And there's a lot of materials on the Red Sea. So some of these are some of my photos underwater. Okay, so now we go to the cultural landscapes. The second part of the inspiration. Starts with archaeology. From long ago, the people start occupying, making structures. And we try to learn when we design from the structure. Here, it's a prehistoric cave in Sinai somewhere. And has, of course, this is a very unique relief because you don't find many prehistoric drawings with a sunken relief like that. And another one is called about leopards, where we went on an expedition to a natural area where it was it was like a natural trap that the leopards go in it, like after an ibex or something, and they can't come out, both of them. So over the years, there became a lot of remains of them, and beside that trap, there was a cave where they did. So all sorts of structures. This is called Nawamis, very old also. We don't know what is the actual, there is theories, we don't know what the actual use of it is. And again, in Gelfik Beer, there is the swimmer's cave too, with a lot of, you can see the drawings, it looks almost like Matisse. Mm-hmm. And it was done so long ago. Different materials that, from archaeology, that how they built in caves, partially in, partially out. This is a spring out somewhere with a Potomac gate on it, somewhere in the eastern desert, I mean. Even on the coast, they used to build with coral reefs, dead coral reefs, because most of the coast is elevated over thousands of years, and they quarry this, and it's very good for building because it's porous, so it's like a natural insulation, you see. Locust and indigenous cultures also are a good source of vocabulary for architecture in nature. You know, because these people, they live in nature, they are simple, you don't want to be, you want to see if you do decorations, if you do something, you borrow from the specific area. You don't go and get it from Islamic or Coptic or Pharaonic. It has to be, tailored to this area. So some of the research upon the different structures the Bedouins do. This is South Sinai in a wedding. They built that made out of goat hair and camel hair. This is somewhere else, the Mashaida. This is people live in Sudan and come to trade camels in Egypt. Their tents look like this. North Sinai, they have different plans where they build their structures from. This area is then by the northern lakes in Egypt. You see, they use the materials that are available in the area. So we try to remember, this is like in Bishari by Sudan. We built it out of 3 branches, dead tree branches. They never cut a live tree. These are about that. So you know that they take tourists always to that same tent. No, there is everywhere there is a different tent and a different structure, and you can see this is the way their water tank. They just dig a hole in the very clean sand and they line it and it becomes a storage. Mud architecture, like in Siwa. So each region, you have to know what's being built there, heritage and so forth. Rashid, they use a material called Rashid. And, you just look at the different details. This is in Lake Barolos, where they gather the fish, what they call it, the fishing, where they get all the fish in here and then they sell it. The structure for the goats. This refrigerator, it's an animal skin, and he goes up, on the mountain and to the spring, and he hangs it like this, and then they cools it. So many details you have to look on. In different regions. This is North Sinai. This lady has 21 pieces of accessories, each with a different name. I can't remember them, but I wrote them down here for you. And the coffee, or the drinks, the food, also becomes something. You do a visitor center, you do a museum, you have to know this. You don't, things that they will present there. The North Sinai, see how beautiful their work is. So I have a couple of movies about Bedouin weddings. You'll be surprised, these ladies, they herd the goats in the morning and night they have these beautiful dresses. Another tribe. Wedding. And we look at the different handicrafts they have. Try to, if you want to do something inside, it comes from the vocabulary of the area. Case studies, okay, you see the theories, now see a few of the applications. Park infrastructure. This place is a World Heritage Site, where it was under the sea 40 million years ago, something like that. And you see whale fossils and marine fossils in the middle of the desert. It's amazing. But because there, this photo is very important. It was the main reason, one of the main reasons they declared the World Heritage Site, because it showed a missing link, very, very intact, of Basilosaurus, which is a prehistoric whale that used to live there. It's a carnivorous whale, you know, and they're just different. Durodon osiris, it's another carnivorous whale the size of a big dolphin. The sea cow, which is now called the dugong, the ancestor of the dugong. Now, when people come to visit these places, and they come in large numbers like this, I mean, if you just let them go there because you don't want to do anything in nature, leave it like it is, when you ruin it. So you have to manage the area. You have to make places where they eat, where they have bathrooms, where they go on tracks, so where the cars go. So that way, you give service to the visitors and conserve the area. This is just some of the plan, how we zoned the area. There was a core area where nothing is built there, and then there was a visitor facility outside the core area where we had some facilities. You can see the beautiful landscape. It would be a crime just to go build a square building out of concrete in this area. So you have to, think a lot and get inspiration. So then we started with these sketches, the design, see? And when we were building, we took care of the area, we had trails, we had trucks parking outside, and in the core area, we move it with donkeys. And of course, the local knowledge and the local workmanship and the artisans, we try to use all this mud brick, ropes. It's handmade buildings, basically. And even the signage, where the sign was baked in a local artist's workshop in Fayoum. This is the entrance. The car goes in the middle there, and this is about a 40-meter abstract sculpture of a whale fossil. So the material here, you can see, made of earth. Can never be dirty because it's just another coat of paint whenever it gets dirty. So it's always looking like this. That's one of the advantages, of course. Plus, these are gold, made of mud bricks that was built on site, made on site by these local craftsmen. Just different shots, bathrooms, information station, cafeteria. Solar energy, of course, was used there. And in the core area, there is very little that, you can see. Maybe this thing. It's an interpretation station, which people can interpret what's going on in front of them. And there is always a theme in the interpretation. So here we made it like an underwater world, and everything was like, gives you the impression that you are still underwater. Now we came to build that museum there. Now it's a perfect area to build a climate change museum. Why? Because it was completely underwater, and then it became a tropical desert like Amazon, and then became desert. So there's so many things. So we built that climate change museum there, and in order to have the least impact, build it under the ground, only exposing the domes outside. So the vertical parts, which are more of an eyesore under the ground. Also under the ground gives you better temperature, gives you suspense. You're going under the ground to see whales that were, buried for millions of years. So you go under the ground. But this is the area. You see how it has, of course, anything you do has impact, but we try to make the least impact. I mean, this is a whole complex, or if you would, under the facilities. This is in the museum, the lobby. So that's inside. And basically in this climate change museum, you start off from the creation of Earth down to modern day, and you come up with the message that there is climate change, there is something you have to do about it, what can you do to help the environment. So there's a message
on the there's just different displays in the museum. Okay, there's another, you see how mellow and soft these structures were. Now this is very harsh. It's in the eastern desert and it's built out of, here again, the ancient people built out of a material called schist, which is a certain igneous rock that, you can basically build it on top of each other without cement, which is important because it doesn't hold heat. You can stand behind a meter thick wall and you can see find the draft. And the material itself cools quickly at night. Unlike earth tone, what they use like in the villages, it's very good in the morning, then at night it holds the heat. And people sleep on the roof. So anyways, we borrowed some of the technologies it was the only place of, by the way, this area was the only place of emeralds within the Roman Empire. So to get it, they built temples, they built buildings, and and that's what we use now for, we looked at before we did the infrastructure. See, this is a new building. It was built in 2007 or 6. But you can see, again here, trying to mimic the environment and also tell a story. I mean, you don't want to go somewhere and it's like England or so on. America, it's very modern or whatever. Everything has its own place. You see, this is an information outpost that was built to begin with. And inside there is interpretation. And even the ranger posts were built with the same way, the ways of ventilation on top, and the same stone. And we had to look for a header. To get a header, we go on the desert for so long just to find a good sized stone to make for headers of doors. So all the infrastructure is built around the Roman. And this is called the Arab Bedouin Museum. Actually, the Dutch embassy partially sponsored this project. And I think around 2006 or something like that. And it was a small museum for the Ababda people, the tribe. And here they are celebrating when it was open. You can see all the details, very authentic. It takes a long time. And here's the natural vocabulary here in the windows. We did the animals that are there, not from Bermuda or whatever. You have to know the animals that are in the theme is even the signage. This is some of the structures that they built there. We tried to see how they do. So here, they used a wishbone structure like this, and then they tied it because they don't have names. So actually, it's very strong. So we use that when we build new signage, you see, or interpretation facilities in that area. Very simple, and it provides shade for the artwork so it doesn't fade. And on the beach, an eco beach was done, very simple like that. And like this one, the problem in the sun, especially in the heat area, if you put an umbrella here and the shade becomes, you have to move the chair a little bit. But this is designed so it's only open to the north and to the view. And you get a filtered view of the surroundings and you're always in the shade. And see how they grouped, far apart. It's another protected area called Rayan, which I did several interventions in it. This was this is not what I did. This is how it looked before, the entrance. Mm-hmm. But after it was remodeled and redone, now it looks like that. Again, natural and culture. These boulders are from nature, and the building is borrowed from the Arab vocabulary of Fayoum, the domes, these triangular and shapes and windows and so forth. And again, it looked like that. This was, what do you think? Now, at Ridon. And again, local artists painting the village scenes This is a very famous art, Muhammad Abla, yes. And got them to paint some on the walls to give another park, Ras Muhammad National Park. It used to look like this, but now it looks much better. Inside used to look like that, now it looks like that. And there's Susan sitting right there, playing with the interactive display. Oh, this is in Saudi. I'll just show you. We were working on a ibex reserve there, on a visitor center. So we stacked it this side, and after it's built, it's going to be like this. See? From here to there. Again, using the vocabulary of the region, custom made. Last thing is the deliverables, derivatives. Derivatives, I did a lot of research on photography, a lot of this. So why don't we use this for maps, for books, like the one you have seen, brochures, public awareness materials, films, and so forth. So, this was Egypt's exhibit in the COP, Conference of the Parties in Sharm el-Sheikh last year. And we use the photography in a different application. I call them derivatives. There's another one in a hotel building, or for an occasion of some sort. See some of the artwork which I've done using the photography and Photoshop and the materials. This was Muhammad talking about corals. And just other ones. And books, like the one you have seen, another derivatives of the process. I did several books. And animations, I do some animations, and like this one for the reconstruction of the city of Alexandria, one was brand new, 300 BC to that, guides, see guide, there's just different materials for awareness. A map. Now, this is the channel I'm telling you about. Just put in my name here, channel, in YouTube or in Google, and you'll find it. And there's many of the films. You'll see one of them now. Websites, another derivative. Birding Egypt, Protected Areas of Egypt, Biodiversity Site, I think this one. And basically, this is it.